Okay, I think it's 11 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. This is Ron Rennan, and once again, I've got the entire sales training team with me, and we've got a special guest that I'll introduce here in a minute. So remember, the month of May, we centered all our training webinars around the product, and then in June, we shifted gears a little bit, and we're going to touch on various subjects that are very, very important to our training program, and today specifically our sales certification program as it applies to recognizing all the efforts of everybody out there in the dealer land. So last week was TCV. Today we're going to talk about our new Cornerstone system, and the title of the class is Navigating the Cornerstone System. And it's going to be easier for me to allow this next gentleman to talk to you more about this. So without any further ado, Mr. Darren Rogado, he is our field liaison for all things field education. He's the subject matter expert and one of the main architects of this new Cornerstone system and within our Learning Center. So without any more time, Darren, take it away. Mr. Darren Rogado.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, Portland area region dealers. Hope you all are doing well. Again, my name is Darren Rogado. I am the variable operations planner here at Toyota Motor North America headquarters in Plano, Texas. So what does that mean? I'm pretty much, as Ron had mentioned, kind of like your liaison in terms of anything training and certification program related, specifically certification related from sales side of things. So Ron and team was kind enough to invite me to your session today and give you all a run through. And for some, it may be a refresher. For some, this may be still new to you. Not to worry, we're going to basically give you a rundown of the new Cornerstone Learning Center platform that we just launched a few months ago. So I'm going to go ahead, and I know my screen is already being shared. So I'll bring my window down in just a moment, but just want to bring one other thing to share with you guys. If you had received already, and most of you should have already received this quick reference guide or QRG. I believe Sheila and the team have already sent this out to you guys. Everything that I'm going to go through with you all today is in this guide. So if you have it open, by all means, follow along. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat that CJ and team have set up, and we'll get to that towards the end. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and bring down my internet screen. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is when you want to access Cornerstone, you're going to come through this website, the toyotacertification.com website, or also known as UOT.com. It's had many names throughout its life. We internally call it the certification website, and y'all should be familiar with this. So you're going to basically log in as you normally would through the site. So I'm going to go ahead and log myself in. And then you'll know that you're in the home page when it says Certification Home. Okay, so really to access the Cornerstone platform is go to your left-hand menu and click on Learning Center, and it's going to open a pop-up that basically says Welcome to the Learning Center. And you can, it may come out very small on your screens or whatnot, so if you want to expand it, just feel free to expand the window. And then any sort of messages or announcements come through like this. So I'm just going to ignore this for now. So this is basically my screen or my view when I enter the Learning Center. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. Everything that you're going to see moving forward, it may look a little bit different. So like your welcome screen may be a different photo. I have a manufacturing photo because we're at headquarters. And you may see I have more buttons than you guys. Again, that's just because I'm at the national level and I can see everything across the enterprise. So for you guys as dealer managers, you will only see things that is specific to you. To your program when a little later when we talk about staff and assigning staff to a class, you'll only see your roster or at least your staff list. So let's start from the beginning. So let's say the team sends out a notification, whether it be an email or some sort of communique that says, hey, we've got some new classes, here are the details. Go ahead and start registering your folks for it. So you're going to come over here and basically start assigning your folks, and you're going to do that using the learning assignment tool. So you're going to basically go to your very top right corner through this little hamburger, as we call it internally. It doesn't look like it. Some people call it the sandwich. Some people call it the stack. Whatever you call it, by all means, go ahead and open that to expand your menu. Okay. Once you do this, you're going to go scroll down to admin, and it's going to open up a list of functions that you have access to, and should be these three default things. And you're, like I said, you're going to go click on Learning Assignment Tool. So we'll give that a moment to load. And so while that is loading, I just want to give you guys a reminder on this. In terms of registering your folks for ILTs or any sessions like that, and this is specifically for instructor-led trainings, the way that it's been designed now in Cornerstone is that dealer managers or any manager-level personnel at the store, at your dealership, has that power to basically assign your staff for training. Couple of few reasons, but the key reason is the fact that, hey, just so you're aware of what your staff members are going to. Some regions, they basically charge for some of these courses, and so that is an important factor to keep track on the trainings that your associates are going to. So that's one of the reasons why we leave it at the manager level. So now, once you click on the Learning Assignment tool, this page comes up, and it's basically the Learning Assignments page. Again, these are all the things. If you had created assignments before, you will see them in a list types format, which you see here on my screen. Again, you won't see this is a lot on my screen, I know, and you're like, holy moly, and it's like 1,800 or so pages on here. So you're not going to see all this. You will only see the learning assignments that you have created for your own store. So that's a good thing there. You're not going to be bombarded with this. But to start the process, you're going to come up here, hit Create Assignment. It's going to take you to the first step of the process, which is the setup. Then you're going to go to your general information box. Under the title, you can name this whatever you want. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to name it, I'm just going to say, I don't know, Summer 2020 Vehicle Training. Just as an example. You can name it whatever you want, depending on how you're assigning the training to your folks. It's totally up to you. Then under the assignment description, this is basically a place for you to show or put a note for your staff that you're trying to assign training for. So this will live in Cornerstone. Nobody else will see it. It'll just stay there permanently once you process the assignment. So the best recommendation from our team to you is basically keep it general. So in this case, I'll just say, be sure to attend the upcoming trainings. So it's very generalized, right? So if you want to, you certainly can put something in here, but it's not mandatory, so you can delete it if you want. The next section here under select training is arguably the most important part, or one of the most important parts, because you're going to basically dictate which trainings to assign. So under this search by training box, you can do, search for this, your courses by course code or even by name. So for example, I'm just going to use Supra. So I know that course code is S4263. I hit the enter key and it pops up right here. And so I'm going to go ahead, and what's important to note, you guys, I've asked this too a couple of times and said, hey, Darren, there was an error. I don't know if I successfully selected a session, and here's why. So when you get to this portion, make sure to not click on this link. It's tempting as it may seem because it's red, it's in big bold font, and it's clickable. As you can see, I can click on it. This is not what you want to do. So what you're going to want to do to select this specific session you want to assign your staff to go to is by going to this right arrow over here, and it'll give you the options for what sessions are available within your region. So for here, we're just going to pick on the first one. I'll look at the details. This is for the demo, or we'll say whatever it is that Ron and the team set for you, but I'll just select this for now. Hit this, the checkbox. And you're pretty much done in terms of selecting your course. Now, are you able to select more than one? Let's say you have you're assigning training to 5 or more people, or whether it be 1 or more. You can assign multiple trainings to this assignment, and you can do that by hitting back to all results. and it brings you back to the search page. So again, you can search by name as well. So we're going to let's do 2020 Highlander. Okay, hit enter. Anything that has the term 2020 Highlander will pop up in your list, whatever's available in your region to view. And you'll see right here, S4280 for Highlander is available. I'm going to go to the side menu, this little caret top or arrow, and then view the sessions available. Here's the one I want to assign. Click, and you're pretty much done. And as you add more, you'll notice up here on the top, the selected section right here, it increases. So keep in mind, it's 2 right now. Let's say if I add another one, it goes to 3. It goes to 4. So it's keeping track of the things that you are selecting, and you can always come to this and review it. Like, okay, am I happy with this? Great. Then you know you can hit select. Or if you want to go back, all right, I've got 2. I want to add another one. Simply go back. It takes you back to where you last left off. So we're going to leave it for these 2 sessions for now with Super and Highlander. Hit select when you're done. And then it's going to pop up, take you back to the main page here. So in this example here, it is giving us a warning that there's something wrong with one of the trainings. And I believe since this is a older class, it's at 611, it's in the past. So if there is an event that you choose a session that is backdated or an old session, it'll warn you. But we're going to continue ahead for now, just for the purposes of the demo. But when you guys select an actual training in the future, you will not get this. But it's good to know that the system does say, hey, there might be something wrong with your selections. So we can ignore this for now. And hit next. It'll take you to the options page. We don't need to do anything in this section at all. Everything's been pretty much grayed out. So you'll just click next. Then it's going to take you, and we can ignore the fact Java wants to install. You'll hit next, and it'll take you to the schedule section. Now here, we don't really need to do anything from this section, if you will. We always say go to next, but in case you're wondering, this is the section, the point in time in the creation of the assignment to say, well, if I want Joe Smith, I'm assigning this, I know the class is on, for example, next Monday. So I'm assigning him to a class to go to next Monday, and I want him to be done with this by next Friday. This is where you would assign a due date. In general, we leave it blank, we leave it open because our sessions typically are dated and are specific anyways, so you can ignore and hit next. But that is what this section basically means. And the second part of the, probably the second most important section is adding your staff or your users on here to assign it to. So you're going to come up here to select users. And again, a familiar search section comes up on your screen. And you can search these search your folks by name. If you happen to have their SPIN number, you can enter it down here as well under the ID. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and add a name. And I'm going to add my teammate Zoila on here. And she's probably going to tell me after this meeting, oh, you're enrolling me for so much. So I've been using her as a demo for demo purposes a lot. So we're going to just add Zoila on here. Okay, you find this, the person you want. We'll hit the check mark. And then let's just say if I want to add, let's add my good friend, Mr. Ron Rinnan on here. Let's see if he is on here. Yep, there's Mr. Rinnan. I'll select him. And just like in the class section before when you were selecting it, you'll notice the selected section is keeping tab of who you are adding to your, to your assignment. All right, so that's, again, there for you to help you out. And let's just say, all right, I'm happy with these 2. I've selected my 2 folks. I'm ready. Hit select down here in the bottom. All right, it takes you back to the user criteria screen. And then if this all looks good, you'll come down to the next button and click on that. All right, and then this is basically the summary page. This gives you an opportunity to, review all of the selections you've made. And in this example, we've only touched on setup and users. So we're going to go ahead and, you can click on the caret or little arrow down arrow. It'll expand and say, hey, this is what you selected. Again, if there were any warnings, this is what's going to come up. You'll see that in yellow. So the good opportunity to review again and say, hey, I can go back. This is your one time to go back and edit something. And then we'll check the users box again just to be double check. Helpful if you have more than 2 folks, obviously. In this case, it's pretty easy. So I'm happy. I know I'm good with this. I'm going to hit submit. Cornerstone is then now going to ask you, hey, are you absolutely sure? So a little bit redundant, but again, the important part or the important reason why it's asking is because once you submit this, and we're going to hit yes, once it's submitted, you're pretty much done. You can't go back. You can't go back and edit and say, oh, I forgot to add somebody. How do I do that? You're going to have to do the whole process over again. So, and it's not, it's really just I would say a limitation of the system. It's just the system design from Cornerstone itself. So that's why it's important, and that's why they ask you 2 or 3 times, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure, type of thing. We joke about it internally, but that gives you the opportunity to review everything. And then, it's very quick, as you guys saw or just seen. We can just create another assignment, add everyone again, or whoever you forgot. So that is essentially how to sign up folks for a ILT session. Now, let's go on the flip side for a second here. Let's say, oh, I need to remove someone now. I need to remove someone from a training that I assigned to them. How do I do that? So you are not going to do that within the learning assignment tool, because by its very name, you're assigning something. So you're essentially now going to want to do the opposite of that. So in order to go do that, you're going to go back up to your main menu or your stack or hamburger, whatever you want to call it. You're going to go then to your under admin. If it's not already open, you're going to click on admin, and then go under the users function here on the screen. You're going to click on it. Then you're going to come, what'll come up is a number of search boxes. Search for your person by name, or if you have their spin, you can enter it on here as well. So in this case, let's just say Zoila. I'm going to give her a break. She's been enrolled in so many trainings between doing demos for you guys and other regions. Her transcript is already overflowing, so I'm going to give her a break. So I'm going to search for Zoila, and there she is. She pops up right here. I'm going to go under options, and there's a little pick down menu. You're going to click on that. It's going to give you the option to view transcript, and that's what we're going to hit. This will take you to the transcript, in this case, Zoila's transcript. And so you're going to look for the assignment or the class that you would like to withdraw her from. So in this case, it's going to be Supra, for example. And there's going to be on the right-hand side says View Training and a pick down. It looks like it's one button, but it's not. It's really 2 separate buttons. So you're going to click on the little pick down. And then because Zoila and I are peers, and again, with how the system has set us up, in this little menu box, it'll show you withdraw, substitute, as well as view training details. So when you see that, and just hit withdraw, or you can substitute a person if you're in that situation where I don't want to lose a spot in the training, but I can substitute it for someone else. You can do that well under this section. It's not just showing up right now for me. I assume because Zoila and I are peers, and so that might be one of the limitations, but regardless, you guys as managers will be able to see that. So in a nutshell, that is what the dealer manager role or registration admin role within Cornerstone. We've received, or I've encountered or received some questions about, transcripts and how do I access those for now. We are still in the process of moving or migrating all of the Torch transcripts into Cornerstone. It'll be in this format, but not under active. Obviously, if you completed it, it's going to be under your completed section within the transcript page for yourself and for your users, and it'll be loaded on here. So that should be, it's in the process now. We're in June, so if it's not complete, it is getting there. But for complete reports in terms of how do I know I'm up to speed or up to date on my certification, The easiest way is, again, going back to your certification website, and then going under reports and then pulling up that red-green report that you guys are accustomed to. So that's, as of right now, still the official way to get the latest reports. So with that, that's a high-level overview of Cornerstone. And then as a reminder, if you guys are encountering any sort of difficulties with Cornerstone, like had one come up the other day. Hey, I can't find my staff member in the list. I'm trying to add them to a class. I can't find them. Or hey, the site's not working at all. We were just down about an hour or two ago. I was just telling the team the site went down for just a little bit, but it's now back up, obviously. But if something of that nature from a technical side happens, reach out to the One Toyota service team through the Learning Center support contacts, and that's here on the last page of the quick reference guides that you guys have. Their phone number is here, the 855-790-7985 number, as well as by email, the Learning Center support. And then as you can see, it's clickable, so it opened up by clicking on it, you can it'll open up your email program and open a new message there for you. So you can email that your issue to them. That'll automatically generate a ticket, and hopefully it gets resolved. Your matter is resolved in a timely manner. Any questions about an ILT, as usual, reach out to your region training team like Ron and CJ and everyone on the team. And then if they don't have the answer, they'll obviously come over to me, and I'll try to give them an answer as best as possible. But yeah, that's it. And when in doubt, you guys, if you guys are lost at any time in this process after this call, use the QRG. It's there for you. This is a living and breathing document. So as new features become available in Cornerstone that directly affects you and your role and what you do in the system, we will update these QRGs. We will let the fields and regions know of it, and then and basically pass it down to you. As a quick tip, how do I know if I have the most recent QRG? It's right up here. You can tell two ways. In the title of the file itself, and I may be a little bit small on your screen, but basically it says version 4, dated March 23rd of 20, and that is the latest one. So, and you can see that here, and I'll zoom in on the PDF. And it's also in the bottom right corner of every page on every QRG. So when in doubt, if you have multiple files or versions, stick to the latest version you have on file, or ask your region team for the latest version. On a previous webinar I was on, they were asking, where else can we get these other than from our region teams? We've heard suggestions about putting up on Toyota Engage, which is obviously our our hub for all of you. We are currently working on that as well and making these or posting these up on Engage. We have some updating to do on our end since our pages, if you ask me, are a bit outdated. So we're working on that. And in addition, and I'll close with this, I admit I am not one of those folks that, opens up a manual, and if I get a new toy, I just want to get to it. I'm a hands-on type of guy, and I'm not going to read a manual first if I get stuck anywhere. So we are developing a how-to Cornerstone video series, all from how to log in, how to find an online training, or how to access the system, everything, ins and out of Cornerstone, from the dealer associate level to your level as a manager. We are producing that as we speak, and we're going to also try to finalize how to get them out to you in your hands, so you have both QRG in this format as well as a video. So that concludes my portion. I will go ahead and pass it back to CJ for Q&A. I believe she was monitoring that. CJ?
All right. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time. I think that this session is really important just to be able to review our new asset that we have in enrolling sales consultants and sales managers in the system. There was a question first off, and again, Darren went and touched on the Toyota certification website, how we were able to gain information prior to this migration. Where can I find the certification rule sheets in Cornerstone?
Good question. So previously, as you guys may know, if you were familiar with the Torch system, we did put our certification sheets on there. They are currently not in Cornerstone at this time. The main focus from our perspective was just to get the e-learnings or the OLTs or e-modules up first, and then kind of any supporting documents, we would kind of come back to the table and determine where, how to best proceed with that. However, we did not leave you guys hanging, and you can still find that within the Toyota certification website. And so how do you do that if you don't already know how to do it? Say, for example, if you want to find the sales consultant rule sheets, make sure you select the role here in the reports section. So you go under reports, this should look familiar. I'm just going to go ahead and click any random dashboard and pull it up. So once you get to it, you see sales consultant. Under available reports, you're going to go down to the third option that says certification rules. When it opens up, that should download the PDF there for you. And just like the QRGs, you guys, sometimes these are updated throughout the year if new courses become available or become mandatory. This too will be updated, and you'll notice down here, if you haven't already, there's a date of when the update was made. So this version was last updated in May of May 11th. Soon enough, more to come from your region team, but another update will be coming soon to add Venza to this list. So stay tuned for that as well.
I do want to add real quickly here, Sheila, our guru for our department, she's going to help us out in this regard so that we can stay updated on the latest QRG. We're going to start uploading that on Region Daily. So on our Dealer Daily, a page for sales training, and even right now that we're in the COVID tab that we have there, that will be a place where you can always go to get the most recent update of this document. So you'll make sure that you always have exactly what we have. So there was a question from Rachel from Marysville, and I think you might have gotten this answered, Rachel, and it was, how can you add a salesperson to a course that you have already created? And that was pretty much the steps that Darren went through in adding the users for those courses. Darren, is there more to add to that?
No, that's absolutely correct, CJ. So Rachel, yeah, everything I've shown you is the steps to basically add your staff to a training session that CJ or the training team has created. I also noticed you asked a second question or a follow-up question to that, which was, can salespeople go on their own? I think I may have addressed that briefly, but I'll certainly address it again. So I know previously in Torch, basically any person at the dealer, consultant, BDC, whatever level they were, they had the capability to register themselves. But when we launched onto this system and we were asked, hey, how do we want these permissions, these admin permissions to be rolled out? And so one of the feedback we received across the board, because we have 12 regions and private distributors across the U.S. One thing that came up was, hey, some regions charge for certain courses and some don't, and how do we track that? And attendance became a thing. So ultimately, our team had concluded by just leaving that capability to assign training at the manager level. So that's your sales manager, service manager, anyone with a manager title, even a GM can do it. They have that. As long as they have a job code with a manager title in it, they're good. And just a caveat, because I've been asked this before. So with someone with, and I know this is more variable, or more for fixed ops, but how about assistant service managers? So on our end, they're called an ASM, but they're not officially a manager. So no, even if they have the name manager in their title, it's not a manager job code. So hopefully that makes sense. Any manager level and above can assign training across the board.
Okay, thank you, Darren. And I think that answered, because Rachel from Marysville had that same question, so I think we did that one. In regards to Darren's contact information, Anyone in the dealership can reach out to your VPTS, to your DM, or using your QRG if you have any questions. If we are unable to answer the question, we will contact Darren and then run it through Darren that way, but we're unable to give Darren's contact information out because he does the whole country. So if we were to give his number, he would not get anything done.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, CJ, for clarifying, because, I mean, I would love to talk to all you guys, believe me. Having been, it's funny, because before this meeting, I was talking with the team, 6 years now, approaching 6 years now with Toyota, and I've held multiple roles where it was, dealer and customer facing from even my days in the call center as a case manager. I enjoy talking to you guys, and honestly, that just keeps me up to speed on what's going on with your neighborhoods, your communities, and what's going on out there. But yeah, to CJ's point, I would just get bombarded. Actually, there was one true story. It was last week or the week before where I think one of the training sessions from the Central Atlantic area, there was a glitch. I laugh about it now because it's funny. There was a glitch in one of the emails that was sent out by Cornerstone, which had my info, and it so happened that there was an issue with that class, and there was, I think, 100 maximum that can attend that webinar. So when the link wasn't working, instead of going to their region team that knew more about it than I did, I got over 100 emails in the span of 5 minutes. And so to CJ's point, they are your, region training representatives. They know more about the trainings they're offering to you, really. We provide them the picture, and I like to put it, they provide you the picture, and we provide them the picture, and they kind of color it in for you guys and say, hey, follow within these parameters, right? So, yeah, definitely reach out to your region team, and when they have any doubts, they'll certainly reach out to me. It's the easiest way to keep in track and help everybody across the nation.
I wanted to just make a statement just for everyone to know. These webinars are recorded. They will appear on our COVID-19 tab in Dealer Daily under the COVID-19 tab. You will also be able to see these trainings on our YouTube channel that we've been advertising and sending out with all of our training announcements. So you will have an opportunity to go back and reference this. And then in the near future, as Darren mentioned, they are creating how-to videos, short snippets on how to assist you through navigating through Cornerstone. So I have a question from Andrew at Michael's Toyota. When creating sessions for the RCN 34 and S744, we did not select the caret to specify training times, instead just selecting the matching class. Is there a way we can fix this?
Hey, Andrew, that is a very good question. So what that does, and if you did not select the caret and you just drilled into the course code itself, basically what the assignment will do moving forward is assign the actual course code in the assignment, and and this is the little caveat I should add. So thank you for bringing this up. It basically gives your associate the opportunity to say, hey, you were assigned this course. Here's the matching sessions. Which one would you like to pick? And in a sense, it gives them that opportunity to pick something based on their schedule. So it's not it does work, but is there a way to fix it? It's a system design function is the best way I can answer that. But if you want to be more specific, if you know, like, hey, if you're managing their schedule, obviously you're probably doing their schedules too, and you want them to go, hey, go to this 2 p.m. class because it fits. It works out from a coverage perspective. Then you need to click on that caret. But yeah, if you don't do that, it'll still process. So I'll take that feedback back to our academy teammates and see if they can do something about that. But no, thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you, Darren. There was a last question from Louis, and I think I can answer this one. Are all the training assignments live classes? So the training assignments, I would say, equal ILT training. And prior to COVID-19, our our ILT classes were live. Now we're doing some virtual ILT training beginning next week. But just kind of keeping that in mind in lieu of prior to COVID, it would be a live training. When we go into launch mode, it will require you all to register for launch. So you would have to go into Cornerstone to make that registration. And am I answering that correctly, Darren?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. I'm looking here to see, I have touched on every question that has come up in our chat. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure that you reach out to your VPTS, your DM. They'll direct those questions to us, and we will do our best to answer them. And if we get stuck or if there's an area that we're not sure of, we definitely are in constant communication with Darren, and he responds very quickly. So we will be able to get that information out for you all. So now I would say this, we've gone through this Cornerstone review. So now you're a little bit more comfortable, hopefully, in how to register. You got some classes to register for next week. We want to try to do our best to fill these classes. This is the first opportunity that we've been able to offer an ILT with our current circumstances. And we want to make sure that everyone stays on track for certification despite the situation and the difficulties that we're dealing with right now. But we are doing everything that we can along with TMNA to still give you the experience that you had prior to all of this. So we want to increase your learning, increase your product knowledge, and we are going to be offering as much as we can virtual until we can come out to your stores to visit with you face to face. So again, on behalf of the sales training team here in Portland, we thank you all for taking the time to be with us today. And we like to thank Darren for taking the time out of his busy schedule to help us facilitate this course. So we will see you all next week at our first ILT training on Monday with Mr. Eric Ellis. You guys have a wonderful day and happy selling today. Thank you.
Thanks, CJ.